Good evening, everyone. I am so glad to be with you all today. And I know that God has a special word for you right where you are. You may be facing challenges, feeling stuck, or wondering if what you're going through is even worth it. But I want to remind you of this powerful truth. God wastes nothing. Every struggle, every tear, every moment of confusion, God is using it. You may not see it now, but I promise you, it's all part of a bigger plan. You see, nothing in your life happens by accident. Every victory and every setback is working together for your good. No hurt, no disappointment, no mistake is ever wasted in God's economy. He is the ultimate redeemer, and He's always working behind the scenes to bring beauty out of the ashes. So today, I want to share with you powerful truths about this life-changing principle. God wastes nothing. So today, as you stand in your current circumstances, remember, God wastes nothing. Whatever you're going through, He's using it to prepare you for something greater. You are not just surviving, you are being shaped, refined, and elevated. Keep trusting, keep believing, because the best is yet to come. Thank you, and may you continue to walk in the fullness of God's purpose for your life. Your struggles are not in vain. I know it can be hard to hold on to hope when it feels like the weight of the world is pressing down on you. Maybe you've been fighting the same battle for months or even years. You've done everything you know to do, and yet things seem to be getting worse instead of better. It's in those moments when you're tired and frustrated that it's easy to question the purpose behind it all. But let me remind you today, every struggle you're facing is not wasted. The tough seasons of life are not just random or arbitrary. They're part of a bigger picture that you may not yet see. Even in the most difficult moments, God is at work in ways you may not even understand. He's using your challenges to grow you, to teach you, and to prepare you for something greater. Think about a diamond. Before it becomes that brilliant, sparkling gem, it has to go through an intense process. It is formed under high pressure, subjected to extreme conditions. It's not a quick or easy journey, but the pressure is what brings out the diamond's true beauty. In the same way, your struggles are the pressure that refines you. They may not feel like a blessing in the moment, but in time, you'll see how they've shaped you into someone stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for what lies ahead. Sometimes it feels like you're stuck in a season that's going nowhere. It's easy to wonder, will things ever get better? Will I ever break through this? But don't give up. There's a purpose in the struggle. In fact, you are being prepared for something you may not even be able to comprehend right now. God is developing in you a level of strength, perseverance, and character that you wouldn't acquire any other way. When you come through this season, you will be ready for new opportunities, new levels of influence, and new levels of success that only your current experience could have prepared you for. Think about athletes who train for a big competition. They don't just train on the good days when they feel like it. They train through the pain, through the exhaustion, and through the doubt. They push through when every muscle aches because they know that every ounce of effort is contributing to their victory. The same is true for you. The struggle you're enduring is not meant to defeat you. It's preparing you for your breakthrough. When you look at your life, don't focus only on the difficulty. Focus on the process, the transformation that's happening inside you. Because in the end, it's the process that equips you with the wisdom, the strength, and the faith to face what's next. Your struggles are not wasted. They're actually making you better. They're refining you, equipping you for a life that is beyond what you've imagined. So if you're in the middle of a struggle today, don't lose hope. Understand that God is working through it. Every moment, every tear, every difficult day is a step toward something greater. Trust that in His timing, He will use your struggles to bring about something beautiful in your life. What you're going through right now is not in vain. It's part of the journey that's preparing you for the victory ahead. Stay strong, keep moving forward, and trust that the best is yet to come. Your pain has purpose. I know that when you're in the midst of it, it's hard to see beyond the hurt, the heartache, the overwhelming emotions that seem to cloud your vision. When life knocks you down, it feels like the pain is senseless. Like it's just something you have to endure without any real meaning. But today I want to encourage you to shift your perspective. Your pain is not purposeless. It may feel raw. It may feel unfair. And you may wonder how something so difficult could ever lead to anything good. But I promise you, there's purpose in the pain. Pain has a way of getting our attention in a way nothing else can. When everything is going well, when life is smooth, we often don't think deeply about our growth, our character, or our future. But when we go through moments of pain, it's as if the whole world slows down and we are forced to look inward. We are forced to face ourselves, our fears, our weaknesses, and our true desires. Pain has a way of stripping away the distractions and the things that no longer serve us. It's like a refining fire, burning away the excess, the things that hinder us from becoming the person we're meant to be. Think about the process of gold being purified. It's placed in the fire, and the heat causes the impurities to rise to the surface. The goldsmith then carefully removes those impurities, leaving behind the purest form of gold. The gold wasn't damaged by the fire, it was actually made more valuable through it. In the same way, the pain you're experiencing is not destroying you, it's purifying you. It's bringing out qualities in you that were dormant, and it's preparing you for something better. I know that some pain can feel unbearable. The loss of a loved one, the end of a relationship, a setback that you didn't see coming. It can leave you wondering if you'll ever be the same. But what I want you to understand is that pain, although it feels like a deep wound, can be the very thing that helps you heal in ways you never imagined. You don't come out of pain the same. You come out stronger, more compassionate, more understanding. You develop a deeper empathy for others, a clearer sense of purpose, and a stronger sense of resilience. When you face pain, it often shifts your priorities. What once seemed important, the superficial things, the material possessions, the little frustrations, no longer hold the same weight. You begin to realize what truly matters. Your relationships, your health, your peace of mind, and your connection to something greater than yourself. Pain teaches you what is eternal and what is temporary. It helps you focus on the things that truly matter. But even more than that, pain prepares you for purpose. You may not understand it right now, but the things that break you today are the very experiences that will allow you to help someone else tomorrow. The challenges you're facing right now are not just about you. They're about the people you will touch through your journey. There are others who will need to hear your story, others who will be encouraged by the way you rise above the challenges, others who will find hope because you didn't give up. The very pain that you think is isolating you is actually preparing you to connect with others in ways you could never have imagined. It's in the shared experience of pain that we find the deepest sense of community. We often think we need to have it all together to help others, but it's the vulnerable, raw moments that allow us to reach out and make a real difference in someone's life. The pain you're experiencing right now is not permanent. It may feel overwhelming in this moment, But I want you to know that this season will not last forever. Just as the night gives way to the dawn, your pain will eventually give way to peace, to healing, to growth. And when you look back, you will see that your pain had a purpose. It will have made you more compassionate, more grounded, and more grateful for the good things that life has to offer. So take heart today. You may not see it yet, but your pain is not in vain. It is working for you, not against you. It's making you more of the person you were created to be. And though you may feel like you're in the darkest part of the journey, know that the light is coming. And when it does, you will be stronger, wiser, and more equipped to fulfill your purpose. Your pain is not pointless. It's part of a beautiful process that is preparing you for something greater. Hold on, because the best is yet to come. You are being prepared for greater. I know it doesn't always feel like it, especially when you're in the middle of a difficult season or facing challenges that seem insurmountable. It's easy to feel like you're stuck, like things aren't moving forward, or like your efforts aren't producing the results you've been hoping for. But I want to remind you today that even though you may not see it right now, everything you're going through is preparation for something greater. Imagine an athlete in training. They don't just show up to compete on the day of the race or game and expect to perform at their best without putting in the work. They spend countless hours in practice, pushing themselves beyond their limits, building strength, improving their technique. They face struggles, muscle soreness, fatigue, and even setbacks. Yet all of it, even the days when they feel like giving up, is preparing them for the competition. The tough training sessions, the moments of failure, and the times when they don't think they can go on. All of it is getting them ready to perform at their highest level when the time comes. In the same way, your current struggles, your challenges, your moments of frustration are all part of a divine training process. You may not see it right now, but God is using every situation in your life to prepare you for something greater. It's like a sculptor working with a block of marble. The sculptor doesn't just start chipping away at the stone aimlessly. Each strike of the hammer is intentional, carefully planned. Some parts of the stone are removed with ease, while other parts require more effort and time. But every single piece of stone that is taken away is necessary to reveal the masterpiece hidden inside. There are moments in life when it feels like you're being chipped away at, like things are falling apart or not going according to plan. It's easy to feel like you're losing something, that you're not moving forward. But I want you to understand that you are actually being refined, molded, and shaped for something that will be so much greater than where you are right now. You may be in a season of preparation, a time when you feel like nothing is happening or you're not making progress, but trust that the work God is doing in you is necessary for the greatness that is coming. You are being positioned, equipped, and made ready for what lies ahead. Think about the seasons of nature. A seed that is planted in the ground doesn't immediately grow into a tree. First, it must take root, and that takes time. It has to break through the soil, reach toward the sun, and grow strong enough to withstand the storms and winds that will come. The growth process isn't always visible, but beneath the surface, there's a lot happening. The seed is being prepared to grow into something magnificent, and it needs to be strong enough to bear fruit in the right season. Similarly, your current experiences are teaching you, strengthening you, and equipping you for the opportunities and challenges you'll face in the future. You may not fully understand why you're going through certain things or what the end result will be, but trust that there is purpose in your preparation. What feels like a delay is often the time you need to develop the patience, wisdom, and skills that will allow you to handle what's coming next. Every challenge is a stepping stone. Every moment of discomfort, every lesson is getting you closer to your purpose. You are being prepared for something beyond what you could have imagined. Sometimes we want things to happen right away, and we get impatient because we see others moving forward in their lives while we feel stuck. But I want to encourage you to trust the process. The process of growth may not be immediate, and it may not always be easy, but it is always necessary. The experiences you're having today are making you more capable, more resilient, and more prepared to step into the life you were created for. What you're learning in this season, what you're growing through, is developing the strength and character you'll need to thrive in the next season. When you look back, you'll see that what once seemed like a detour or a setback was actually a key part of your preparation. You'll realize that every setback was a setup for a comeback, that every struggle made you stronger, and that every experience was shaping you into the person who could handle the greater things that are ahead. You may be in the middle of something difficult right now, but I want you to remember that this is not the end. This is just the preparation. God is using this time to equip you, to teach you, and to refine you. The greater things are coming, and you will be ready for them. The strength you need, the wisdom you need, the connections you need. God is bringing all of those things into place. Keep your eyes open and your heart prepared, because what's ahead will make all that you've gone through worth it. The greatness that is coming is not just for you to enjoy, but for you to use to impact others and fulfill the purpose that God has placed on your life. Stay faithful, keep moving forward, and trust that you are being prepared for something extraordinary. The best is yet to come. Every opportunity, every door is part of His plan. I know that sometimes life can feel uncertain. We find ourselves facing crossroads where we need to make important decisions, wondering if the choices we're making are the right ones. We chase after opportunities that seem promising only to find them slip away, or we wait for doors to open and wonder why they stay closed. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't unfold the way we expect, or when opportunities seem to pass us by. But let me remind you today, every opportunity, every door that opens or closes is part of a greater plan. It is all happening for a reason. We often look at opportunities as isolated events, thinking that our success or failure depends on the choices we make at any given moment. But what if I told you that every step, every door, every opportunity is a piece of the larger story that is unfolding in your life? What if the paths that seem uncertain, the doors that seem closed, and the opportunities that don't seem to work out are all being used by God to position you exactly where you need to be? Sometimes we get focused on the doors that don't open, and we begin to think that we've missed our chance or that we've failed. But I want to encourage you to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. A door that doesn't open right now is not a door that's forever closed. It's simply a part of the process. There's a timing in life that goes beyond our understanding. God is never in a hurry, but He is always on time. The door that you think has been locked may not be the right one for you at this moment. And even though you may feel the weight of waiting, trust that God is using this time to prepare you for something better, something greater, something that fits you perfectly. Opportunities often come in unexpected ways. They may not look like what we've envisioned or hoped for. And they may challenge us in ways that make us uncomfortable. But I want you to understand that every opportunity, big or small, is a step toward fulfilling your purpose. There are doors that will open in your life that will lead you to places you never imagined. And there will be moments when those same doors will close, not because you're not qualified or worthy, but because God has something even better in mind It's easy to see the closed doors as rejection, but I want you to see them as redirection. Sometimes the opportunities we think we want are not the ones that will ultimately lead us to where we need to go. God knows the desires of your heart, but He also knows the plans He has for you. He's not just opening and closing doors randomly. Everything is purposeful. Even the delays, the detours, and the things that seem like setbacks are part of the bigger plan. Every step is a stepping stone toward what He's preparing you for. Think of your life as a puzzle. Every piece, every decision, every opportunity, every challenge fits together in a way that you may not see now, but in the end, it will form a beautiful picture. You may look at your past and wonder how it all makes sense, but each opportunity and every closed door has shaped who you are today, and it will continue to shape the person you are becoming. There are times when we feel frustrated or confused because we don't see immediate results. But just because you don't see immediate outcomes doesn't mean the doors aren't opening or the opportunities aren't there. Sometimes the best opportunities take time to reveal themselves. Trust that even if things aren't happening as quickly as you'd like, the right doors are opening at the right time. It's all part of God's perfect timing. And the beautiful thing is, when a door opens in your life, it's not just about you. It's about the people you will impact along the way, the lives you will touch, and the legacy you will leave. Every opportunity you are given is a chance to grow, to learn, and to make a difference. It's not just about advancing your own life, but also about being a part of something bigger. When you step through the right doors, you are stepping into a role that will allow you to bless others, to serve others, and to be a light in places where darkness once reigned. It's important to also remember that opportunities are not always grand or dramatic. Some of the most impactful doors are the small ones, the quiet ones, the ones that seem insignificant at first. But as you step through them, you'll realize how much they were needed to get you to where you need to be. Sometimes the greatest opportunities are hidden in the small moments of daily life. The conversations, the connections, the quiet steps of faith that lead you down a path you never could have imagined. So if you're standing at a door right now, wondering if it's the right one, or if you've been waiting for an opportunity to open up and nothing seems to be happening, I want to encourage you to trust. Trust that every door that opens and every door that remains closed is part of God's perfect plan for your life. Even when it doesn't make sense, trust that He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating everything in your favor. The doors you are meant to walk through will open at the perfect time. And when they do, you will be ready, equipped with everything you need to step into your purpose and embrace the opportunity before you. Remember, every opportunity, every door is part of His plan. You are exactly where you need to be, and everything that's happening or not happening is working together to bring you closer to the life you were created to live. So keep moving forward in faith, knowing that the right doors will open and the right opportunities will come. You are being prepared, and everything is unfolding according to His perfect plan. God redeems what the enemy tried to destroy. I know that when we face loss, pain, or disappointment, it's easy to feel as though we've been left broken, like we'll never recover from what we've been through. Life can throw some heavy blows, and in those moments, it's tempting to think that we've been defeated, that what's been lost or broken can never be restored. But here's the powerful truth. What the enemy meant for your harm, God will use for your good. Nothing in your life, no matter how difficult, is beyond God's ability to redeem. When the enemy tries to destroy something in your life, whether it's your peace, your relationships, your confidence, or your dreams, it may feel like it's over. It may feel like the damage is done, that there's no way back. But here's the key. God is in the business of restoration. He doesn't just fix what's broken. He transforms it into something even greater. What the enemy meant to tear down, God will build back up, stronger and more beautiful than before. Think about a masterpiece that is being restored. When an old painting or an antique piece of furniture is damaged, it doesn't mean it's beyond hope. In fact, the restoration process can make it even more valuable, more unique. The artist or craftsman works carefully, patiently, and lovingly to bring the piece back to its original state. And sometimes even beyond that. The same is true with your life. What the enemy intended to destroy, God is using His divine touch to bring healing, wholeness, and new purpose. You see, the enemy may have come against you in many ways, attacking your peace, your purpose, your relationships, or even your sense of identity, but none of it is wasted. Even in the darkest moments, when it feels like the enemy is winning, God is working behind the scenes, weaving a tapestry of redemption that will ultimately lead to your victory. What the enemy tried to use to bring you down will actually be used to lift you higher. The Bible is full of stories of redemption. Joseph, for example, was betrayed by his own brothers and sold into slavery. He was falsely accused, thrown into prison, and forgotten by those he had helped. It seemed like everything was against him, and the enemy was winning. But in the end, God used all of those experiences to elevate Joseph to a position of power, where he was able to save countless lives during a time of famine. The very thing the enemy tried to use to destroy Joseph was the very thing God used to position him for His divine purpose. Joseph himself later said to his brothers, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." The story of Job is another example. Job lost everything: his wealth, his health, his family. But through it all, he never lost his faith in God. Though the enemy tried to destroy him through pain and loss, God redeemed Job's life in a way that was even greater than before. Job's restoration was so profound that God gave him twice as much as he had lost, and his latter days were filled with greater blessings than his former. But it's not just stories in the Bible. It's the stories of your life. You may not see it now, but the pain you've experienced, the struggles you've faced, and the heartbreak you've endured are not the end of the story. They're part of the greater narrative of God's redemption. What the enemy tried to steal from you, God is going to restore in ways that you can't even imagine. The healing and restoration might take time, and the process may be hard, but I promise you that God is working through it all, bringing about something more powerful and beautiful than you could have ever planned on your own. God is a master at turning our greatest disappointments into our greatest opportunities. He has a way of taking what the enemy intended for harm and using it to strengthen us, teach us, and prepare us for greater things. Maybe you've been through a painful breakup, a betrayal, or a financial struggle. Maybe you've lost a loved one or faced rejection. Whatever it is, I want you to know that your story is not over. God is working in ways that you cannot see, turning the very things that tried to break you into the stepping stones for something better. When God redeems, He doesn't just put things back the way they were, He makes them new. He doesn't restore us to our previous state, but to a better, stronger, more refined version of ourselves. The scars you carry are a testimony to the grace of God in your life. Those scars show that you didn't just survive, you thrive. You came through the fire and you are stronger for it. It's important to remember that redemption doesn't always happen overnight. The process of restoration can take time, but be encouraged by this truth. God is never wasting your pain. Every hurt, every challenge, every moment of disappointment is part of the greater story He's writing for your life. He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail and using even the most painful moments for your ultimate good. So if you've been through a season of loss, if you feel like the enemy has taken something precious from you, don't give up. The enemy's work is not the final word in your life. God is not only going to restore what was lost, but He's going to redeem it in a way that brings glory to Him and good to you. Keep trusting, keep believing, and keep walking forward. What you thought was destroyed will be revived, and what you thought was lost will be found even greater than before, because in God's hands, nothing is wasted, and He will redeem it all. You can trust God's timing. I know that in the rush of life, when everything around us feels urgent and the clock is ticking, it can be incredibly difficult to remain patient. When we want something, we want it now. When we worked hard for something, we expect it to come to fruition immediately. But I want to remind you today that God's timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't align with our own sense of timing. We live in a world that demands instant gratification. Whether it's through technology, where everything is a click away, or in our personal lives, where we are often looking for immediate results, patience seems to be in short supply. We want answers now. We want solutions now. We want our dreams to materialize right away. But the truth is, God's timing is not like our own. His ways are higher. His plans are greater. And His timing is always right. When we trust in God's timing, we are acknowledging that He sees the bigger picture. We are finite beings with limited perspective. But God is all-knowing. He sees every detail of our lives, every moment of our future. And He understands the perfect sequence of events that need to take place for His plans to unfold in the most beautiful, most effective way. There are moments in life when we don't understand why something hasn't happened yet, or why something didn't happen the way we thought it would. It's easy to get frustrated, to feel like things are moving too slowly, or to question if our time will ever come. But God sees things from an eternal perspective, and He knows exactly when the right time will be. Think of a seed planted in the ground. You can't rush the process of growth. You can water it, you can fertilize it, but ultimately that seed has to take its time to grow roots, to push through the soil, to reach the sunlight. If you were to dig up the seed and force it to grow faster, you would destroy its potential. It needs time to develop fully, to grow at the right pace. In the same way, God's plan for your life is unfolding at the right pace. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, growth is taking place beneath the surface. Trust that what is happening in this season is preparing you for what's ahead. Another example is a beautiful piece of art. A painting or sculpture doesn't emerge overnight. It takes time, precision, and careful strokes to create something truly magnificent. Sometimes God is working behind the scenes, crafting your life with the same care and intention. He's aligning the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances. And each piece has to fall into place at just the right moment. What we may perceive as delays are oftentimes when God is making sure everything is ready. He's preparing you, shaping you, and getting you ready for what you've been praying for, even when it feels like nothing is moving forward. If you've ever been through a season of waiting, you know how hard it can be. Whether it's waiting for a breakthrough, waiting for a dream to come true, or waiting for something to change in your life, it can feel like time is standing still. But remember, God is never idle during your waiting period. Waiting is not wasted time. While you're waiting, God is working in ways that you cannot see. He's preparing you spiritually, emotionally, and mentally for what's ahead. Sometimes He's also using your waiting to teach you things that you wouldn't learn in a hurry. Patience, perseverance, trust, and faith are all cultivated in the waiting. These are qualities that will serve you well when the time comes to step into your destiny. Take a moment and think about the story of Abraham. God promised Abraham that he would be the father of many nations. But for many years, Abraham waited. He was already an old man when the promise was made, and his wife Sarah was beyond childbearing age. There was no logical reason why they should be able to have children. But even in the midst of their doubts, God's promise was still true. God's timing was perfect. It took many years for the promise to be fulfilled, but when it was in the most miraculous way possible. Isaac, the promised son, was born when it seemed impossible. And through Isaac, God's covenant with Abraham was fulfilled, and the nations were born just as God had promised. God's timing was not Abraham's timing, but it was better than anything Abraham could have planned for himself. Similarly, look at the life of David. He was anointed as king while he was still a young shepherd, but it wasn't until years later, after many challenges and trials, that he was finally crowned king. During those years, David's character was being developed, and God was preparing him to lead His people with wisdom and strength. And God knew that David's heart needed to be shaped, his trust needed to be deepened, and his leadership skills needed to be refined. The waiting was a crucial part of God's plan. In our own lives, there may be moments when it feels like we've been waiting forever. But in the waiting, God is not just holding us back, He's positioning us. He's making sure that everything is in place for His perfect timing. He's building our character, our faith, and our trust in Him. When the right time comes, everything will fall into place, and we will see that the wait was worth it. So today I want to encourage you to trust God's timing. If you've been waiting for something, a breakthrough, a change, an opportunity, know that God is working behind the scenes. You may not understand why things haven't happened yet, but trust that His timing is perfect. Your waiting is not in vain. Every moment is preparing you for what's ahead. Keep your heart open, your faith strong, and your trust in God unwavering. Because when the time is right, He will bring everything together in a way that will exceed your expectations. God is never late, and He is never early. He is always on time, and His timing is always worth the wait. Keep believing, keep trusting, and know that God is working in the background to bring your dreams, your plans, and your desires to fruition. His timing is perfect, and you can trust Him. You are not defined by your past. I know that sometimes the weight of our history can feel like a heavy burden, something that keeps us anchored to old mistakes, regrets, and failures. We look back at the decisions we've made, the paths we've walked, and the things we've endured, and it's easy to feel like those moments have shaped us in a way that we can never escape. It's easy to believe that the mistakes we've made, the hurt we've experienced, or the people we've been can somehow determine who we are today. But I want you to hear this loud and clear. Your past does not define you. Your past is simply a chapter in your story, not the whole story. Too often we allow ourselves to be defined by things we cannot change, choices we made long ago, people who hurt us, or failures that seem to mark us forever. But every single one of us has made mistakes, faced setbacks, or experienced pain. We've all had moments in life that we wish we could erase. But the truth is, those moments don't have to hold any power over our future. They do not have the final word about who we are. You see, your identity isn't rooted in your past. It's not shaped by your mistakes or your circumstances. It's not determined by how you failed or what others have said about you. Your true identity is found in who you are becoming, not who you were. There is always room for growth, for change, for transformation. And the beautiful thing is, the God who created you is in the business of making all things new. You are a work in progress, and your past is just that, history. Think about a sculptor working with a block of marble. When they start, it's just a rough piece of stone. It may look imperfect, cracked, and unrefined. But the sculptor doesn't discard it. They see beyond what it is, knowing that with patience, precision, and careful work, the raw material will be shaped into something beautiful. Similarly, God sees beyond your past mistakes, your hurt, and your failures. He sees who you are becoming. He sees the potential inside of you. The person you are today is not the person you were yesterday. And with God's grace, the person you will become will be even more magnificent than you can imagine. It's easy to get stuck in the trap of thinking that our past defines us. We might think that because we've made mistakes, we're unworthy of a bright future. Or we might believe that because we've been hurt, we'll never be able to fully heal or move forward. But that's a lie. Your past may have been painful and it may have been challenging, but it doesn't have to dictate your destiny. You are not the sum of your mistakes, your failures, or your scars. Your worth is not found in what you've done or what's been done to you. Your worth is found in who you are. Precious, valuable, and loved by the Creator of the universe. Consider the story of Paul in the Bible. Before he became one of the most influential leaders of the early church, Paul's past was anything but glorious. He persecuted Christians, hunted them down, and approved of their suffering. If anyone had reason to be defined by their past, it was Paul. But when God called him, when he revealed his purpose for Paul's life, that past was not an obstacle. It was part of the story of redemption. God didn't let Paul's mistakes or his past actions define him. Instead, he took what had been broken and used it for his greater purpose. Paul became a champion for the very cause he had once fought against. And his letters continue to inspire and shape the lives of millions today. In the same way, God can take the pieces of your past and turn them into something beautiful. He doesn't waste your experiences. He doesn't waste your hurt or your pain. The challenges you've faced and the mistakes you've made can be used to shape you into a stronger, wiser person, equipped to fulfill the purpose He has for your life. You are not defined by the people who hurt you either. Maybe someone abandoned you, betrayed you, or mistreated you. Maybe you've been labeled by others in ways that you know don't reflect who you really are. But hear this. Other people's opinions of you do not define you. Their words, their actions, their judgments do not have the power to determine your value or your future. You are who God says you are, and no one can take that away from you. You are loved, you are worthy, and you are capable of great things. Your value is not in the labels others have placed on you. Your value is in the truth of who God created you to be. The past can sometimes feel like a prison, holding us back from the life we want to live. We can become prisoners of our own past, trapped by guilt, regret, shame, or fear. But the truth is, the key to your freedom has always been in your hands. You don't have to stay stuck in the past. You don't have to keep carrying the weight of those old wounds, those old mistakes, or those old regrets. God has already paid the price for your freedom. He has already forgiven you and He has already redeemed you. You are free to move forward, free to walk in the newness of life, free to pursue the dreams and the purpose that are ahead of you. You may not forget the past. You may not erase the pain, the mistakes, or the lessons learned along the way. But those things no longer have to define you. They are simply part of the journey, not the destination. And you are not bound to the mistakes of yesterday. With each new day, you have the opportunity to step into a new chapter, to embrace the future God has for you. I encourage you today to let go of the lies that say your past has to hold you back. Let go of the regret, the guilt, and the shame. Let go of the belief that you are what you've done or what's been done to you. You are a new creation, and every day is a new chance to live out the truth of who you really are. Your past does not define you, and it never will. You are defined by your potential, your faith, and the promise of a future filled with hope and purpose. Keep moving forward because the best is yet to come. God will use it all for your good. When we face hardships, trials, or painful situations, it's natural to wonder how it all fits into the bigger picture. We sometimes question, how could this possibly work out for my good? How can this pain, this loss, this failure be part of God's plan? It's easy to feel overwhelmed by life's challenges and to think that the struggles we face are senseless or meaningless. But let me assure you today, nothing in your life is ever wasted. God will use it all for your good. The truth is, we often don't see how God is working in the middle of our struggles. When we're going through difficult seasons, it can be hard to understand why things are happening the way they are. It may seem like everything is falling apart, that the pieces of your life are scattered and never going to come together. But God doesn't waste a single experience. Every hardship, every setback, every painful moment is being used by Him in ways we may not immediately understand, even when we can't see it. He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating everything to bring about a greater good in our lives. Think about the story of Joseph. His journey is a perfect example of how God uses everything, the good and the bad, for His purposes. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery and wrongfully imprisoned. His life seemed to be one setback after another, but in the end, everything he went through led him to a position where he could save his family and an entire nation from famine. What seemed like betrayal, loss, and injustice became the very platform for his purpose. Joseph's story reminds us that what the enemy meant for harm, God will use for good. The challenges he faced didn't defeat him, they positioned him for greatness. When we are in the middle of our struggles, we can't always see how the pieces fit together. But God is always at work, even in the most difficult of times. He doesn't cause our pain, but He promises to use it for our good. What the enemy intends to destroy, God will use to refine us, strengthen us, and prepare us for what's next. The Apostle Paul writes in Romans, "We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." This promise is true for you today. Every trial you face, every challenge you endure, God is using to shape you and position you for something greater. We must remember that God's idea of good is often different from ours. We may define good as comfort, success, or immediate happiness, but God's goodness is rooted in His eternal purpose for our lives. His goodness doesn't just mean everything will go smoothly or the way we expect it, but that He will use everything, every moment, every situation to bring about something greater, something that will last, something that will shape us into who we are meant to be. His good is eternal and far greater than what we can see in the moment. There may be times when you feel like the pain you're experiencing is too much to bear, that you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But trust me, God has not forgotten you. He sees you in your pain, and He is using that very pain to grow you, to teach you, and to bring about something good. Your suffering will not be wasted. It is not in vain. Every tear you shed, every moment of heartache, every setback is a part of the larger picture that God is painting for your life. Consider the example of a gardener tending to a plant. Sometimes a plant needs to be pruned in order to grow. The pruning may seem harsh at the time, but it is necessary for the plant to flourish. In the same way, God sometimes allows us to go through seasons of difficulty to prune away what isn't beneficial, to shape us into something more fruitful. Even though it may feel painful in the moment, the end result will be something more beautiful and more in line with the purpose God has for our lives. God doesn't just work in the moments of joy and success. He is equally present in the times of hardship. He walks with us through every valley, holding our hand and guiding us toward a future of hope. The good He has for us is not only found in the destination, but in the journey itself. He is with you in the struggles, and He is using every challenge to build your character, to strengthen your faith, and to draw you closer to Him. Through every season of difficulty, He is working to refine you, preparing you for the good things that are yet to come. Even the moments when we feel like we've failed or when things don't go according to plan are being used for our good. Sometimes the things that feel like setbacks are simply detours, redirecting us to something better. Sometimes we need to fail in order to learn, to grow, and to gain wisdom. It's in those moments of disappointment that we learn the most valuable lessons, lessons that will equip us for greater success in the future. What feels like a defeat now could very well be the training ground for your future victories. It's also important to remember that God's goodness is not just for us. He uses the challenges we face not only to refine us, but also to equip us to help others. You may be going through something today that you don't understand, but one day you'll be able to use that experience to help someone else who is going through something similar. God will use your story, your journey, your testimony to bring hope and healing to those around you. Your struggles, your pain, and your triumphs will be a source of strength for others as they see how God has worked in your life and how He can work in theirs. So, if you're facing a challenge today, if you're struggling with something that feels too big or too overwhelming, I want you to know that God is using it for your good. Even though it might be hard to see right now, He is at work behind the scenes, weaving together every detail of your life for His greater purpose. Trust that He is good, that He is faithful, and that He will bring something beautiful out of even the most difficult situations. You are not alone in your struggles. God is with you, and He will use it all for your good. Keep trusting Him. Keep holding on to His promises. Your story is still being written, and the best is yet to come. What you're going through today is not the end. It's just a part of the journey. Trust that God is working all things together for your good, and that He will bring you through this season stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the future He has for you. As we come to the close of this message, I want you to hold on to one powerful truth. God wastes nothing. Every trial, every setback, every moment of pain, and every moment of triumph is being used by God to shape you, refine you, and prepare you for something greater. Your past does not define you. Your struggles are not in vain. Your pain has purpose. God's timing is perfect, and He is at work behind the scenes, using every part of your story to bring about His greater good for your life. There may be moments when you feel overwhelmed, when the weight of life's challenges feels unbearable, but I want to encourage you to keep moving forward with faith. Even when you don't understand why things are happening the way they are, trust that God is working in ways you can't see. Trust that He is making something beautiful out of the broken pieces of your life. No matter what you've faced or what you're facing today, God is in control. He is using it all for your good, for your growth, and for His glory. You are not alone, and your future is not determined by your past. The best chapters of your story are still to come, and God is right there with you, guiding you, strengthening you, and leading you toward the destiny He has prepared for you. So take heart. Let go of the things that have held you back. Trust that your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. You are becoming the person you were always meant to be. And God is using every step along the way to bring you into the fullness of your purpose. The road may not always be easy, but it's leading to something good. Keep believing, keep trusting, and keep walking forward, because God will use it all for your good.